Daybreak Africa is your one-stop top-notch breakfast show that brings you all the interesting stories happening in and around Africa.
Because we have all the morning essentials,
including the latest news, sports, weather, and events. And of course, the people.
Daybreak Africa on Television Nigerian.
Weekdays, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Daybreak Africa. My name is Messi Joe.
And my name is Elvis Oga. I'd like to say a very big thank you for joining us on today's edition of the program. Good morning, Messi Joe.
Good morning, Elvis.
How was your night?
My night was fine, but this barrel just tried to be funny. All right, I mean, a whole lot happened yesterday in the National Assembly.
You did not ask me how my night was. My night was actually busy because I was trying to put together what actually transpired throughout the country yesterday.
All right. I'm sure Elvis is going to be doing lots of analysis for us today what happened, transpired in National Assembly yesterday. So, the acting MD of the NDDC yesterday, he slumped during the drilling by the House of Representatives on the committee grilling NDDC, their misfunds of the supposed 81 billion naira. So that was going on in the National Assembly yesterday, and I think everyone was doing some other things, and then we heard there was someone slumped. You know,
before the news of the NDDC acting MD slumping yesterday came out, we were talking about Sarah calling on President Muhammadu Buhari to set up an investigative committee.
And that was what was happening yesterday.
To probe it. And, you know, we were talking about, okay, we have the House of Reps trying to launch a probe concerning NDDC already. So we're not, and they said setting up another committee or looking into another committee is way out of the picture for now. And
you read that out in a newspaper headline yesterday.
So we were actually talking about that, and immediately after a daybreak, where we were trying to gather our report for other programs, now the quick news or the breaking news now came in that he has slumped. And I tried to do so many checks, background checks on what could actually lead to what has happened yesterday or what happened yesterday. And there was a report from some quarters I came across that said the doctors actually advised him not to go.
That means he was already ill for probably 2 weeks before now. And then, see, I think that probably the questions they were asking him, they're really very drilling, and he probably wasn't prepared for some of those things. Because now we had this question where they were asking him, the budget we approved for you yesterday, last year, that's 2019, what part of the budget was it slated there that this particular amount of money is for ourselves? In quote. Then they said 1.5 billion naira being entitled for ourselves. Where did they approve such a budget? And then he said, no, it wasn't 1.5 billion naira, it was 1.32 billion naira. And I was like, okay. I thought that maybe when I say 1.32 million naira, you get.
Yeah.
So
at least so that difference will be there.
And then he was like, I mean, I think we should watch the video so we all understand what really transpired.
Okay.
Let's call for the video.
Spend this money you said here on oath that you are preparing to pay students who are on scholarship. Are you aware that every expenditure you make from 31st May till date are not
was the video there. So you could see lots of persons came to his aid. We had a man that had to put in his hands. Probably he thought he was convulsing, so the teeth doesn't get to jam together. Probably that's why. But then I asked this question. The coronavirus is spread through what? Mucous membrane. That's the mouth, the nose, and the eyes. All of that was violated yesterday, and then direct.
You know, I became so worried when I saw that there was almost an attempt for mass suction or resuscitation.
That didn't happen now, thank God, because there was a face mask. So.
And the issue of so numerous touches with the bare hands.
Yes, bare hands.
And we've been talking about how the coronavirus has actually been hitting different people.
Even some persons in the National Assembly too, that have been coming out positive. Yeah,
we talked about that the other day. So that really exposes our readiness or preparedness to combat coronavirus, especially in the case of emergency. When you talk about preparedness, is not about, okay, you having to stay on your own, and then when this issue comes up, or when this issue come up, you now go about it properly. But in the case of emergency, how prepared are you? How equipped are you? We saw that, it seems nobody actually saw that coming yesterday, and when it happened, I think we just saw people trying to put life first, and then risking more lives in the process.
So it means there was no Red Cross around there, no medics, nothing. Because at that point in time, those rest people, whoever the rest persons are, I mean, they are not medical doctors. They don't even know if the person was being that way as a result of the virus that is ongoing. You don't know. And then you saw people rushing to the person's aid. I mean, you see, like you're saying, how prepared are we for this? You understand? That wasn't supposed to be seen there. They were not supposed to come and be bare hands just touching him all over like that. I mean, what if, because I keep saying this thing, it's not on the forehead, so you don't know who has it and who doesn't have it. So I would even advise that he personally still go for a checkup later on, just to be sure he's fine. Even the rest people that touched him, everybody touching, should go and make sure that they are fine and healthy.
All right, still talking about what really happened with the acting NDDC MD yesterday. And so many facts or reports have actually been springing up concerning the business of NDDC for a while now. That's been an issue we've been talking about for quite some time now. And yesterday, when you were talking about some of the questions that he was being asked, and then the answers he supplied, I saw a part where they were talking about they did not approve, the Senate did not approve a certain amount of money to be spent, and they were trying to make reference to a provision on grant that allowed them to spend 50% of budget allocation submitted pending approval. And I think we need to see legal practitioners come out to dissect these issues and see how it plays out.
Now, even the ones that were even approved, you know, they can submit a particular amount of money to be approved by the National Assembly. They have approved it now, but then it's like, because automatically it means most persons are supposed to be in prison right now, because you've just violated everything. It's like you have a contract, and then you bring down an analysis of what this is going to be for this is going to be for, and then you just decide to just change the whole plan just like that after it was approved. It doesn't make any sense.
There was this other strong point that a very huge amount of money, about 343 million or billion naira, you know, the figures are actually so high that you cannot even recall everything or put everything
it's like trying to be realistic. That is it really possible that it should be 300 and something billion? I think that's the thought there.
So they said those amount of money were given to the indigenes of those communities that had those projects to serve as pointers, because when he was asked why do they need to give that amount of money to indigenes for project like that, they say most times when contractors go to site, they experience some level of hostilities from the community, so they needed people around who will be friendly to take them around. And he was asked, do you think these people from the community need this money for them to allow a project that will benefit them go on? They said yes, because these people need blah blah blah, plenty things, and a whole lot has been happening. But I think what I want us to look at now is the resolve of the House of Reps as put forward by the Speaker, that he will not be appearing before the panel again because of his health. Because
I saw that this morning.
He has already submitted a written reply or a reply to the questions of the
and they were saying, the committee was saying that this will be the last time that they will call him for any questioning again. And when I saw that this morning, even someone was even saying and was arguing like, so that means automatically, are we trying to say that's the end of the case? I mean, there is no final.
I think the work with the written reply has already submitted. That's what the Speaker of House of Reps talked about.
I think there should be more than written.
You know, ordinarily when things happen like that, as humans, we're supposed to exhibit some level of empathy and be sympathetic to an extent. But giving to, if you want to take into consideration
what has actually to be on hold for now.
Not really. It could actually go on, and maybe they could be doing the written style of probe instead of the physical and then verbal kind of probe. But what I was trying to talk about is the fact that when ordinarily somebody slumped, as humans, we're supposed to exhibit some level of empathy and be sympathetic. But considering what has actually transpired in the past, and then people try to see it as a gimmick being deployed by people who are under trial to escape trial and all. So most people are trying to look at, was that slump really genuine, or is just an act up? Like Nigerians actually been reacting.
No, there are lots of comments. I'm even sure people still drop their comments after this program.
So, like I was saying, if we're now looking at it from this particular angle, I think, like you said, we want to see the people's reaction, and they should try to get to the root of this whole thing. Like I think I'm happy that, you know, this whole thing is so interesting is because of the fact that initially, you know, he appeared last week and he walked out on there because he said the man that was supposed to chair the committee,
so many scenarios,
had an allegation against him, so he lacks the confidence to actually stand as the chairman or probing him and all. All right, so some people from some quarters, according to comment I saw, some people were saying maybe he never knew the man will accept to back out of the probe so that the probe can go on. So when the man back out, they saw that, okay, this is another, they need to come up with another way, another coil to actually go to see how they could play around the whole situation.
Yeah. Well, yesterday Akpabio was not left out of all of this. I mean, yesterday he said the biggest beneficiaries of the NDDC contracts are is the National Assembly itself. He said, I mean, there's no contract, the reps members, there's no contract that passes without it getting to their table. So they are the largest beneficiaries from the NDDC.
That's actually more like on a general note. But if you look at it critically, there was a part of the statement that pointed that most of the contracts are even awarded to members of the House.
Let's watch the video and see how it played out there.
Niger Delta Development Commission, because of the fact that we are doing forensic audit, the NDDC plays a vital role in ensuring the peace and security of the region, and 90% or more of the resources of the country on a monthly basis comes from there. If you close it down in totality, all you have will be chaos, and you have a lot of not just militancy, but you have a lot of insurrection. So it is important that people who have gone to court, people who genuinely did jobs, should be paid for their job. So for me, I'm not against it, because of course, who are even the greatest beneficiaries? It's you people now. Okay. Because if you look at your chairman,
Honorable Minister, that's okay. That's okay.
No, can I ask you that question? What is the benefit that the National Assembly is benefiting from?
It's okay.
Are you asking me the benefit of National Assembly?
Yes, you just said.
I just told you that we have record to show that most of the contracts in NDDC are given out to members of National Assembly, but you don't know about it.
It's okay.
The two chairmen can explain to you. That is why I was a member. I was a member of the NDDC committee.
It's okay.
Wait, you were a member of the NDDC and you were a member of the NDDC in the 8th Assembly, and are you telling me that lots of jobs were awarded to you as a member?
No, this is a problem. That's why I said you must.
Then you have the right to accuse people. Then why can't you bring up the people that?
To me? One of the chairmen
if you were not awarded a contract, then why are you coming here that you are aware that you were a member of the NDDC and lots of contracts were awarded to you? You said I'm not aware. I'm telling you that. Bring up those names.
May I inform my honorable sister that that is why we have to change.
Honorable Minister, please. It's okay. That is okay. That is okay.
But let me explain.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Let me explain.
It's okay.
Now.
It's okay.
You must not allow the two
It's
to
okay.
handle the budget every
It's
day.
okay. Off your mic. It's okay.
Off
your mic, Honorable Minister.
You are like me. I was a member like you. I did not know what was going on.
Honorable Minister.
Yes,
it's okay.
Yes, Chairman.
It's okay. You guys sit down. Sit down. Sit down. It's okay. Go.
All right, that was the video there. I mean, records to show contracts were really being given to the National Assembly. So it means that if they are trying to call for evidence, there's a lot of evidence on the table of Fabio there.
You know, I was just wondering, as a lawmakers, maybe you might have to have some level of the right qualities to be able to judge situation. Like you saw the outburst from that woman.
Yeah. So it's like some persons understand what's going on, and some persons don't understand what's going on.
Ordinarily, when the woman, when he made that statement, people might want to look at it. Okay, oh, this is happening. But you saw the twist the woman brought in, because the man said he was a member of the NDDC committee during the 8th Assembly. And the woman asked, "That means we are awarded contracts?" And he said, "No." So, you know, Nigerians have actually been expressing their dissatisfaction regarding the way the answers came to question he was being asked. So many people felt, okay, he was asked this question, and when they were expecting him to go this way, he went the other way, and it was not really sitting well. But in a nutshell, you see what really transpired yesterday when he raised the issue of Reps member being the major beneficiary of contract from NDDC, and he was about to talk. I saw that the gavel was actually was being on it, and then there was actually a tap. So
yeah, I could see some hands flying.
So people are feeling like maybe there's something that some people know and others truly don't know, and people that know this thing don't want others to know too.
So why confidently permit a probe? Well, I mean, lots of people are thanking the president for actually even letting this to happen in the first place, because it's his initiative.
I think I share that same opinion too. Because when people have been complaining about corruption and all, and this is one of the rare occasions where we see a president allow a cabinet under his watch to be probed. Ordinarily, what we tend to see is most times, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but on very few occasions, but most times what we see is the government goes out and the successive government come in and probe the past government. But this time around, we've seen
the government inside.
Yes, trying to do everything to see that no act of corruption or most acts of corruption are truly exposed.
Yeah, I think the thing here is that it's the end result of this case that everybody is particular about right now. Now moving to a lighter note, Big Brother Nigeria.
Wow.
Season 5, that's Big Brother Nigeria, the lockdown. That's for 10 weeks, but it's actually reduced from 3 months to 2 months, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right, that's not a problem. But then we have Uzo, we have Dorothy. No, I know you say Nengi.
I know you say Uzo too.
I don't want to go on, but then Nengi.
We have our Kid Wire, we have our Lakon. Yeah. One of the most trendy guy in the house. And
then we have this lady who her mom is from Kenya, and then her dad is Nigeria. Oh. I'm telling you, you see the two cultures combined.
She would have actually qualified more for Big Brother Africa.
And yeah, she's in Big Brother Nigeria.
So a whole lot has actually been happening, and then people have been trying to match-make them among themselves, and try to match them with the ex-housemate and see who replaces who looks like somebody who has been there before.
Yes, I think Nengi and Messi.
Oh, Nengi and Messi. So who is Tasha in the house?
Who is Tasha? I know Cindy.
Okay.
Do you know that Haisha girl? Haisha, that's Cindy.
And then just this morning I was saying maybe we've not seen, among everybody I've been seeing in the house, I've not seen a perfect replacement for Mikey yet. Oh, my man, Mike.
please, but I haven't seen any replacement for Tasha.
Nigeria has actually been trying to look at, the last edition that had that Messi one. Yeah. People were actually expressing their resentment or their reservation concerning the selection, that most people were actually known already, and they felt the selection was tilted towards a particular direction. Not that let's leave it at that. But this time around, people are trying to say, okay, maybe it was more inclusive to an extent where they had people that are not really well known before, or to an extent. So Nigerians are feeling like, okay, this is the selection. They prefer the selection of this one.
Okay, they prefer the selection of this year than last year.
I mean, last year was all top notch and high class people.
I mean, lots of people, you know, I mean, Thatcher, social media influencer,
Mike, a company owner in British.
Chris Kinney, what do they call that thing? Christovia. Yes, but then all of these people, except for Uzodo. I mean, the rest there.
Keep mentioning music too much. So yesterday, Nengi actually won Head of House
Games. You know, she really said something when she was coming into the house. She said people should look aside her beauty, her face, her physique and everything, that she is actually more than just beauty. She is beauty and brain. She actually said something like she is more than, like, I mean, she is intellectual. People are going to see the intellectual part of her. Then when people see her, they just think that, oh, the only thing she may be able to offer is her beauty. Especially
if you've been following her activities before she came into the house.
No, I haven't been following her activities.
If you know her, she's this kind of lady that do a lot of flesh exposure from her Instagram videos and all before, so people might really want to judge her from that angle. So probably that's why she came in that way. That she make that clarification,
and she became the first head of house. Did you see the head of house lounge?
Yeah,
he has his own staircase. He has his own lounge.
You know, before the resumption of the housemaid, or the arrival of the housemaid, there was this time that Ibuka posted a picture of a particular segment of the house with some beautiful graffitis on the wall and all. So,
all right, I know we have a lot to talk about, but then we have to go to the news desk to get news from Susan Achin.
There are a lot of false information about the coronavirus. These are the facts. People of all ages can be affected by the coronavirus. However, older people and people with pre-existing medical conditions such as asthma, diabetes, heart diseases are more vulnerable to the disease. It is not for old people alone. Gargling salt and warm water or chewing garlic and ginger cannot prevent the virus. Drinking alcohol, hot lemon, palm oil or chloroquine will not kill the virus. The virus cannot be transmitted through mosquito bites. Antibiotics do not work against the viruses. Antibiotics work only against bacteria. Boiling pineapple peels, lime and ginger does not kill the virus. Putting raw onions in rooms will not ward off the virus. Using or spraying Dettol, special oils and water all over your body cannot kill the virus. There is no scientific evidence that cooking, drinking or eating any of these is an effective treatment for coronavirus. Do not self-medicate and take responsibility by sharing only verified messages from health authorities such as NCDC, Federal Ministry of Health and WHO.
Daybreak Africa is your one-stop top-notch breakfast show that brings you all the interesting stories happening in and around Africa.
Because we have all the morning essentials,
including the latest news, sports, weather.
Good morning and welcome to AM News. I am Susan Achin. The Federal Capital Territory FCT had the highest COVID-19 cases in Nigeria on Monday, 102, as the country's infections from the virus surpassed the 37,000 mark. This is according to the latest data released by the Nigerian Center for Disease Control, NCDC, which revealed that the country reported 562 fresh cases from the virus. According to the NCDC, the new COVID-19 cases were recorded in 20 states and the FCT, which brings the country's total infections to 37,225. Similarly, the NCDC data showed that of the number of persons infected with the virus in Nigeria, 15,333 have been discharged. However, 21,082 cases are still active, with 801 deaths reported so far. The Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Senator Godswill Akpabio, on Monday said most contracts from the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, are awarded to National Assembly members. The minister made the comment as he was being grilled by members of the House of Representatives Committee on NDDC in a public hearing. The minister had been invited by lawmakers on Friday to defend his actions as Minister of Niger Delta Affairs and shed more light on financial misappropriation within the NDDC. Akpabio's comments surfaced as he was responding to a question about NDDC expenditure amid a forensic audit. Meanwhile, acting managing director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, Professor Keme Bradikomo Ponde, has left the hospital. Professor Ponde, who earlier on Monday slumped as the House of Representatives Committee on NDDC grilled him, was said to have left the hospital where he was taken. Ponde was being grilled for an hour when he slowly slumped over his desk, appearing to have fainted. Several people present at the hearing rushed to his aid, propping him up and attempting to stabilize him while the proceeding was halted. Soon after, Ponde appeared to be in a seizure with a man holding open his mouth as others held him upright. Afterward, he appeared to regain loose composure intermittently and had to be moved out of the session. And on to the entertainment scene. After just a night in the Big Brother Niger house, the housemates were made to participate in a head of house task. The task involved the housemates rolling dice and performing tasks on a card, and after much back and forth, Nengi and Neo hit a tie, but eventually Nengi emerged victorious and was named as the first head of house for the season. Now moving on to the world of sports, coach Ndubisi Egbo has made history as the first Nigerian to win a European League after he led KF Tirana to victory in the 2019 and 2020 Albania season. Tirana is officially declared the champion of Albania after the end of the 34th week, a Google translation of a post on the club's website read. Coach Ndubisi's club will also be featuring in the UEFA Champions League for next term following the 25th league title. The 46-year-old, who had 12 appearances for the Super Eagles between 1999 and 2002, when he was a goalkeeper for the KF Tirana, is also believed to be the first African to achieve that feat. And
there are a lot of false information about the coronavirus. These are the facts. People of all ages can be affected by the coronavirus. However, older people and people with pre-existing medical conditions such as asthma, diabetes, heart diseases are more vulnerable to the disease. It is not for old people alone. Gargling salt and warm water or chewing garlic and ginger cannot prevent the virus. Drinking alcohol, hot lemon, palm oil or chloroquine will not kill the virus. The virus cannot be transmitted through mosquito bites. Antibiotics do not work against the viruses. Antibiotics work only against bacteria. Boiling pineapple peels, lime and ginger does not kill the virus. Putting raw onions in rooms will not ward off the virus. Using or spraying Dettol, special oils and water all over your body cannot kill the virus. There is no scientific evidence that cooking, drinking or eating any of these is an effective treatment for coronavirus. Do not self-medicate and take responsibility by sharing only verified messages from health authorities such as NCDC, Federal Ministry of Health and WHO.
All right, going above the nameplate. Fidelity Bank appoints Onyeli Ikpe as CEO designate. Okonkwo retires December 31st. Federal government approves launch of 15 trillion naira in Fraco PLC. That's on page 6. I'll take this last headline here. That's beside the picture story here. Buhari mourns media. Business leader Funtua dies at 73. That's a sad one there. That's on page 8 of the This Day newspaper. And that does it for the This Day newspaper.
All right, let's briefly move on to the Nation newspaper with the following headlines. The banner headline from there still talking about the NDDC probe with the caption, NDDC spent 4.2 billion naira in one day, Akpabio tells reps. Minister, cash paid out in tranches of 49 million naira. Lawmakers are beneficiaries of agencies' contract. And then just above the nameplate, we have this about the Onyeli that you talked about earlier on from that publication. Onyeli Ikpe is Fidelity Bank MD CEO designate. That story is on the page 27 of the Nation newspaper. And beside that, NPAN patron Issa Funtua dies at 78. Buhari others mourn. You can actually see that on the page 25, and it's more like a very sad time across the world where coronavirus is actually claiming so many lives. It's not categorically stated if the death of Funtua is linked to COVID-19. And then we have this report about CBN 2 from the Nation newspaper. CBN boosts economy with 3.3 trillion naira credit, 7.8 trillion naira loans restructured. All of that can be found on the page 5 of This Day newspaper. And below the nameplate, we have a report concerning Edo 2020. Ize Iyamo Obaseki fresh face-off over cultist sponsorship. Farmers seek probe of 144 billion agri loan. PDP accuses APC of desperation. And then I'll take this last one. That's actually a good one coming from our aviation sector. Binani Air debuts soon. More like a plus. You can actually pick a copy of the Nation newspaper to get the details of the stories we brought your way and even more.
All right, taking a look at the Punch newspaper this morning. NDDC controversial probe. More drama as MD finds at hearing. Reps Akpabio clash exchange words. That's on page 2. And below that you can see in the picture story there, you can see the MD, the acting MD, being attended to in the picture there. Below the picture nameplate, Nigerian entrepreneur commits suicide over rape accusation in US. That's a very worrying one there. That's on page 4. Again, gunmen invade southern Kaduna, kill 21. That's on page 7. Oshomole angry Obaseki didn't allow him become godfather. That's Edo. That's on page 11. Above the nameplate there, Onyema, PAMSEC directors others to take COVID-19 tests. That's on page 13. Beside that, Forex uncertainty worries businesses as CBN retains 12. Oh my God, I don't know, typo errors here. 12.5% interest rate. That's on page 22. Still beside that, Akeredolu beats 7 contenders, win APC tickets for October poll. That's on page 7. We have that story and many more on the Punch, on the front newspaper of the Punch newspaper.
Okay, let's take a look at headlines from the Nigerian Tribune, and we take it from top to the bottom, just above the nameplate. COVID-19, Oxford vaccine safe, induces early immune kills early access to 90 million doses. That story is on the page 24 of the Nigerian Tribune. Beside that, Ondo APC primary, Akeredolu leads. You can find that on the page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune as well. And beside that, we have this story concerning the death of Buhari's associate with the caption, Buhari's associate Issa Funtua is dead. You can check that out on the page 3. It's actually a sad one, and our heart goes out to the family, all his friends as well. Okay, just below the nameplate, 81.5 billion naira probe. PDP derides APC as NDDC MD faints before reps panel. 1.3 billion naira, not 1.5 billion, was spent as COVID-19 palliatives on ourselves. Poinde explains. That is on the page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune. And then below that, and that's slightly beside the picture story, Sukuk Fund, 162 billion naira released to Works Ministry. Okay, to Works Ministry, and that can be found on the page 7. Then below the picture story, female rep tackles Akpabio for saying most NAS members are NDDC contractors. That story can be found on page 2, and the picture story there you can see is actually people trying to resuscitate or stabilize the acting MD who actually fainted during the probe yesterday.
All right.
That does it for the Nigerian Tribune.
All right. Taking a look at the Guardian newspaper, that's my final newspaper here in my front. Hope deems for national career 2 years after London launch. Federal government insists on Nigerian air as project gets priority in 27 billion naira bailout fund. Pandemic force closes, credible investors, technical partners, stakeholders disagree on prospect economic viability. That's on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper. Below the picture nameplate, NDDC probe takes dramatic turn. Pondia slumps, stalls hearing for minutes. He had been ill for 2 weeks, says NDDC. Probe NDDC, 20 CSOs tell Buhari. Akpabio accuses lawmakers of benefiting from NDDC contracts. All right. Still below that, again, 19 feared killed as gunmen storm wedding party in Kaduna. That's on page 3. Beside that, insurgency, banditry will end when Nigerians desire, says Buratai. Well, when Nigerians desire. All right, that's on page 3 as well. Beside that, federal government moves to sell 216 electricity assets. That's on page 4. And I'll take this last story here. Buhari's ally Ismaila Funtwa dies of cardiac arrest. I mean, okay, we can get the reason why he died, not of COVID-19 complications. That's on page 3. And that does it for the Guardian newspaper this morning. All
right, and a quick look at the Daily Sun reveals the following headlines just beside the nameplate. Binani Group to establish airline. That story can be found on page 2 of the Daily Sun. And below the nameplate, as acting MD slumps at reps hearing. COVID-19, NDDC chief admits IMC members shared 1.32 billion naira. NAS members major beneficiaries of commissions contract. That is coming from Akpabio, and that story can be found on page 8. And then we have a whole lot of picture story about the acting NDDC director who actually slumped yesterday during a hearing. And below that we have some headlines here. I'll just take a few of them. Edo Guba Obaseki, PDP recruiting thugs for violence, says APC. Allegation baseless. That is coming from PDP. You can check that out on the page 21 of Daily Sun. And we'll quickly move on to the last paper on the table this morning. That is the Business Day, with the banner headline, manufacturers invest billions in local raw materials as FX scarcity hurts. Naira volatility pushes local sourcing to 56% since 2014. And then beside that, Fidelity Bank names Nneka Onyeali Ikpe first female MD CEO designate as Nnamdi Okonkwo retires December 31st. Then the inside story is talking about inside the opportunity cost of Nigeria's latest nutrition gas pipeline project. Okay, that does it for the Business Day newspaper, and that's all from the newspaper review segment of Daybreak Africa this morning.
All right, we're moving to the next package on our program list here, and which is Across Africa. So we go across Africa for news across Africa.
Welcome to News Across Africa on Daybreak Africa. Now, Senegal resumed international flights on Wednesday, the July 15, 4 months after shutting airspace due to the coronavirus pandemic. An Air Algeria flight arrived in Dakar on the midnight of Tuesday, with 6 other flights expected to depart and arrive throughout the day. And passengers departing this West African nation are required to prove that they have tested negative for the virus within the past 7 days. The certificate has to come from a laboratory within the country where the trip originated from. Land and sea borders remain closed. Now, Senegal lifted its state emergency and curfew imposed in March to stem the spread of the virus at the end of June. The number of cases in Senegal continues to spike. More than 8,300 infections and 153 fatalities have been recorded since March 2. A peaceful march intended to demand the release and medical evacuation of Congolese opposition leader General Jean-Marie Michel Mokoko has been banned by authorities. The march, planned by civil society organizations in the Congolese capital Brazzaville on Thursday, was expected to begin from the headquarters of the Congolese Human Rights Observatory at the premises of the Ministry of Justice near the Presidential Palace. Charlie Nkumani, a member of the Ras Les Bois citizen movement, questions the motive behind denials for his release. The main crossroads on the route chosen by the NGOs were invaded by the police forces in riot police vehicles or on foot. The Congolese authorities cited the risks of coronavirus infections to prohibit the march. General Jean-Marie Michel Mokoko, a candidate for the 2001 presidential elections who was sentenced to 20 years with forced labor in 2018, has been hospitalized since July 2 at the military hospital in Brazzaville. His lawyers report of his general fatigue and lack of appetite. Dozens of Sudanese took to the streets of Khartoum Friday against recent reforms by the government which they deem anti-Islamic. These reforms include allowing non-Muslims to drink alcohol. For Safia Haji Ahmed, one of the protesters, said that in Sudan, men, women and children are all Muslims by nature. We won't allow any distortion of the laws of Islam, and today it is our duty to take to the streets until the government fails. Last week, the Sudanese Justice Minister Nasruddin Abdubari said that Muslim-majority Sudanese can now allow non-Muslims to consume alcohol with the condition that it does not disturb the peace and provided they do not do so in public. According to him, now converting from Islam to other religions would also be decriminalized. The announcement came a day after the nation criminalized female genital mutilation. Late June, Prime Minister Abdullah Hamdok pledged to announce decisions that may have a major impact in the country. The security forces blocked streets in central Khartoum and bridges connecting the capital with its twin city of Omdurman. At least 5 people died in protest against the government's plan to move a power plant in Sierra Leone. Police opened fire on demonstrators who were protesting against the dismantling of the Makeni thermal power plant in the center of the country on Saturday. Makeni is the largest city in the northern province of the West African nation. The work was due to begin, but young people opposed it. The protests escalated and rioters attacked several nearby buildings, including headquarters of the ruling Sierra Leone People's Party. The security forces then attempted to disperse the crowd with tear gas and live ammunition. As a result of the tense day, a curfew was imposed on Saturday evening. The information minister explained that the move will not affect the city's electricity supply, that the aim was to temporarily support the airport in Freetown, the capital, which was scheduled to reopen on July 22. An emergency vaccination campaign is underway in the Equator province in northwestern Democratic Republic of Congo on the border with the Republic of Congo. Now, residents of the town of Mbadaka recently received vaccinations against Ebola as the epidemic spreads across the province. The World Health Organization is raising the alarm that there are now 56 new cases, and it's of great concern, particularly as it is now surpassing the previous outbreak in the area, which was closed up and controlled at a total of 54 cases. Out of the 56 cases, there are 22 deaths. The vaccination campaign is targeting urban centers as a priority. The WHO says it does not have sufficient resources to reach the rural areas concerned. This outbreak is the 11th of the Ebola viral disease in the DR Congo. Between 2018 to date, Central Africa's largest nation has faced not only an Ebola epidemic, but also a measles epidemic, including the endemic malaria. Cases of polio and cholera also have been reported. That is the much we have for you on News Across Africa. Daybreak Africa continues shortly.
Across Africa, right there with a whole lot of news making rounds in different countries of the continent.
That was News Across Africa there. All right, we have to go now. That's the much we can take today on Daybreak Africa here on television Nigerian.
And I must confess, it's been an amazing ride with you. Tomorrow, same time, same place. We will be back again for another interesting outing. Until then, my name is Elvis Oga.
And my name is Messi Joe.
Meanwhile,
we're leaving you with a package.
That's a Vox Pop on Nigerians' reaction on the probe of EFCC, ex-EFCC chairman, Magu.
All right.
In the anti-corruption fight of the present administration, President Muhammadu Buhari has gone ahead to confirm the suspension of the EFCC Caesar, the acting chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, and under very serious investigation. We're here to find out the reactions of Nigerians on this matter.
We don't know the truth. What they are saying, whether is because I'm only hearing it. I don't know the one that is the truth. Sure, sir. And for me to contribute, I don't even know what to say about it. I don't know what to say about it.
But what did you hear?
I hear of a thing that I think whether it chop money or whatsoever, that blah 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 like that. That's what I heard, but I don't know the one that is the truth.
So do you think that, okay, he is in charge of EFCC, in charge of catching people who have stolen money or have chopped money? What do you think that this government has done? Do you think the government has done well in arresting him so that they can investigate him, please?
Right now, to me, they need to investigate him now. They need to investigate him and know the right one, and know the truth.
So if they find out that it is not true, what should they do to him?
So, then Nigeria know what to do now. I'm the one to say what to do to him. They know the right thing to do.
But is it correct that if somebody is accused of chopping money, they should suspend him and they should also arrest him and put him inside police station?
No. He's not supposed. All they need to do, they're supposed to sit down the man and ask him very well, investigate him very well before they go and lock him. They need to investigate or need to ask the man or to go around what's going on about the man before they arrest him to go and put him in the station. It's not, I don't think that is the best.
What if they have done all that?
Sir?
What if they have checked all those things before they arrested him?
That means the law have catch him.
In the past, all the time he's been called for, the sloth. We have always agitated. We have always said the person in Magu cannot fight the anti-corruption, for Nigeria. So, but coming on the base that Nigerian government has assigned him such delegate position, has really criticized, has really given a mark that isn't very favorable for the government. I can't understand the resistance of the president for allowing Magu to remain in seat, having known that there are other letters from the DSS or SSS concerning his own integrity that has been in question for a long time now. And this is happening at the time when we are trying to rate Mr. President. And with what is coming of EFCC, it is actually a total failure on the side of the government. We say that Magu has actually put the Nigerian name into the mud. Internationally, we have been rated as people who are found with, quack characters. We find our brothers and sisters in the list of security watch and in all crimes and corruptions. And yet, the hem of affairs of the corruption sit in the government and in Nigeria is found in this illicit act. It's totally unacceptable. We are saying that the entire government is culpable to this, and we cannot accept, anything lower than the standard that Nigerians should actually need. We have lots of brains who are supposed, and even security intellectuals who are capable, who are fit to man such offices. And why is it that they are not appointed? We are disappointed. And with this, we are saying that the federal government have to do something very fast. I mean very fast, and make sure that everybody who is culpable in this act should be brought to book.
The 8th Assembly, when they refused the confirmation of Ibrahim Magu, right, the president stubbornly, for whatever reasons he may have had, refused to take the recommendations of the 8th Assembly. So here, the 8th Assembly, is particularly the former Senate President, Saraki, has been exonerated, vindicated. Magu is now like what's that song by Sound Sultan, where the hunter is now the hunted. It's unfortunate. It goes to tell you that the fight against corruption is a sham. Magu's case is just a little part of all of what the shenanigans that is going on, in this government is about. The corruption that is going on under this government, when this government leaves office and when it's made public, Nigerians will be amazed. But on Magu, focusing on him, let him test his medicine and know how bitter it is. The media trials that he embarked upon against Nigerians, ignoring the part of the Constitution that recognizes that you are innocent until proven guilty. Let him test it. But I hope that this is not to distract us. I hope that they will not give him a patting on the back after the so-called investigation. But truth is that the president has woken up to say to Magu,